In the sun-kissed cradle of North Africa's vast highlands, a people carved their name into eternity's unforgiving stone. From 3000 to 1000 BC, indigenous Amazigh, often known as Berber, tribes created the earliest political structures in the region, a legacy that would influence North African identity for millennia. Imagine the dawn of civilization in this rugged landscape. The people we now call the Amazigh weren't a single, unified nation. They were a tapestry of clans and communities, scattered across the Atlas Mountains and the fringes of the Sahara. These were the descendants of the Capsian culture, transitioning from a nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a more settled existence. This wasn't a simple or easy change. It was a shift born from necessity, driven by the changing climate and the need for a more reliable source of food. They began to till the soil under a merciless sun, their backs bent over fields of barley and wheat. They started herding goats and sheep across plains that would one day become the foundations of empires. Their social bonds were forged in the fire of shared hardship. As clans grew and settled, the need for organization became critical. They spoke dialects of what we now call Tamazight, languages that echoed the ancient pulse of the mountains. They crafted distinctive pottery and intricate silver jewelry that gleamed like captured moonlight. Every step they took was a step toward building a society. A prayer to hold on to the fading green in a drying land. But what force was strong enough to bind these scattered souls together? What compelled them to move from small family groups to something much larger? The answer lies in both opportunity and threat. The fertile valleys offered the promise of abundance, but they also attracted rivals. To protect their harvests, their families, and their livestock, they built fortified settlements. These weren't grand cities, but hill forts and defensible granaries, often perched on high ground with a commanding view of the surrounding territory. These structures stand as silent testaments to their ingenuity and their constant struggle for survival. Building a fort required cooperation. Defending it required unity. Alliances were formed, not through grand treaties, but through shared meals around a flickering campfire, through marriages that tied families together, and through oaths sworn to protect one another from raiders and famine. These early political structures were likely fluid, centered around powerful chieftains or councils of elders. Leadership was earned, not inherited. It belonged to the wisest negotiator, the bravest warrior, or the one most skilled at finding water. Each alliance was a victory snatched from the jaws of despair, a temporary shield against the chaos of a harsh world. The weight of leadership was immense. A lonely burden carried on the shoulders of those who had to make decisions that meant the difference between life and death for their people. Imagine a chieftain, his face etched with worry, staring into the fire, the wind carrying the cries of rival clans and the whispers of impending drought. By 1000 BC, these scattered foundations had started to take root. We see the emergence of larger confederations and the first proto-kingdoms. These weren't empires in the way we think of Rome or Egypt, but they were a significant step. They were a beacon of resurgence, a testament to the Amazigh people's ability to adapt and organize. They created a network of trade, exchanging grain, salt, and handcrafted goods across vast distances. This interaction didn't just move products, it moved ideas, strengthening cultural ties and reinforcing a shared identity, even among distant tribes. This era laid the groundwork for the great Amazigh kingdoms that would later rise to challenge Carthage and Rome, like Numidia and Mauritania. However, this rise came at a cost. The transition to settled life and larger political units meant a loss of some individual freedom. The independence of the nomadic clan was replaced by the obligations of a larger society. And the land itself was an unforgiving partner. Periods of prosperity could be shattered in an instant by a prolonged drought, turning thriving communities back into scattered refugees. The history of this period is not a straight line of progress, but a cycle of growth and collapse, of unity and fragmentation. It is a story filled with shattered hopes and the sorrow of families forced to abandon their homes, leaving their ancestors and their history behind. So, as we look back at this dawn of Amazigh civilization, we are left with a profound mystery. What were the hidden forces at play? Were these kingdoms born solely of human will and the need for survival? Did the mountain gods, as their myths might suggest, summon their strength to unite their people? Or do the ancient cairns and crumbled forts hide a darker secret, a story of climatic curses and environmental catastrophes that repeatedly shattered their weary hold on civilization? The Amazigh soul endures to this day. A vibrant and resilient culture with deep roots in this ancient soil. But the full story of their earliest kingdoms remains veiled, a silent cry of lost clans and fallen dreams, waiting to be unearthed from the sands of time. The stones of those first hill forts still stand, whispering tales of desperation and hope. In the ancient peaks of North Africa, what untold stories still guard the secrets of the tribes? Thank you for joining me on this journey into the distant past. If you found this story fascinating, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into forgotten history. Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. What do you think was the biggest challenge these early societies faced? Until next time, keep exploring.